Today, we're gonna go ahead with the like switch summary by the bestbookbits.com site. This book is by Schafer, I guess, and Marvin. I don't remember the last name, I'm very sorry, but I think the first name is Marvis, or Marvin. I think it's Marvin something. You know, it's gonna be in the description, and I have actually forgotten about it in the title, so I'm thinking about it yesterday. But yeah, so I might actually be kind of changing that. I might be doing something about that, but I'm not quite sure. Or have I? No, I haven't. I haven't uploaded it, but I don't know. The thing is, we're gonna go ahead with chapter 5, which is about speaking the language of friend. Making friends through verbal communication. The more you can encourage the other person to speak, the more you listen to what they say, display empathy and respond positively when reacting to their comments, the greater the likelihood the person will feel good about themselves and like you as a result. Communication is much more than conveying ideas. It also encompasses how you convey them in real world situations. A person who is forced into a defensive position is less likely to accept new ideas, which just totally makes fucking sense. Creating an adversarial environment, okay, to language creates or enforces concepts of winners and losers. Cognitive dissonance is triggered when a person holds two or more conflicting beliefs simultaneously. Ego, people are naturally egocentric. Okay. Keep your ego in check and use psychologically sound principles to shape your communication. Create an inclusionary environment, avoid cognitive dissonance, bolster their illusion of self-focus, foster a mentor-mentee relationship, showing the other person respect and acknowledging their expertise makes them feel good about themselves. Active listening is... what? Active listening, it's something you want to practice if you want to use verbal behavior as a tool to build new friendships. Because yes, indeed, listening to people is gonna make them feel good. This is also one of the reasons why I like to listen to people. Besides the fact that if I'm talking to somebody, then I do, of course, also feel the urge of saying something about what I have to say, quite, you know. This is clearly something that I notice, and it is clearly something that I'm feeling and seeing. But on the other hand, it is like, I don't know, like I want to talk to people just because I want to know more about them, and I want to know more about, you know, what they are doing and all sorts of things. So it's an interesting thing. It really is, and I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I can understand it, but as I said, I just want to talk to people because I want to know more about them and what they do and stuff like that. Love, listen, observe, vocalize, and empathize, or empathize. Empathetic statements are the spice of conversations. Because of word minds, we don't know what meaning people attach to an oculus word. There is a danger in miscommunicating when there are no non-verbal cues to guide a conversation. Once an opinion or decision is expressed out loud, changing a person's mind becomes more difficult due to the psychological principle of consistency. People bite their lips when they have something to say, but is hesitant to say it for a myriad of reasons. Touching of the lips means the person is uneasy about the topic that is being discussed. I actually have to have a look at these two things. Because of course, if you notice that, change the fucking subject, change the fucking topic. Being like, well, you know, well, it's okay, you know, never mind. It's a bad question, something like that. I think this quite often works. On one hand, on the other hand, it is like, yeah, I don't know, do something else, say something else. Attraction and interest, for example, are communicated by much more the tone of voice than by the words being spoken. When you are right and someone else is wrong, give that individual a face-saving way to carry out your wishes with a minimum of embarrassment and humiliation, which is always a good thing. And I don't know why you would actually be aiming for the opposite of that. So yeah, making someone feel wrong in front of people causes unnecessary tension and strife. Yes. It is just unnecessary. You know, in general, letting just other people feel bad about themselves because of something they once did to you and whatnot, it's unnecessary in the end. It's like, why? Why would you be doing this? Why would you be saying that? Why would you, what's the point in doing so? What is their point? There is no point in doing that. There is no point in, yeah, there is no point. Instead of asserting your rights to be right, ask people for their advice that allows them to be part of the decision-making process. An alternate response question gives the other person the illusion of control, but doesn't relinquish authority. An alternate response question. Being like, do you really believe in that? Or is it just like blah, 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 blah. Is this what they mean? Or what he means? Or, well, actually what they mean. It could be, but I don't know. Strategy 2, use the technique of status elevation to make people feel better about themselves and see you as a friend. Strategy 3, if you want to get information from somebody without arousing suspicion or putting them on the defense, use the elicitation approach. Elicitation is the ability to obtain sensitive information from people without them realizing they are providing you with this data. The human needs to correct an elicitation or whatever through presumptive statements. People have a need to be right, but an even stronger needs to correct others. Or is it like, being like, well, I kind of have a feeling that this person is like this and that and these and those, and they say like, well, no, it's not really the case. It's something like that. So I kind of know what he or they are aiming for. The internal-external elicitation technique. Asking someone a question as a third party can reveal how they really feel on a topic. An empathetic statement that also allows the person to compliment themselves is most effective. Common conversational pitfalls. Avoid taking or talking about topics that engender negative feelings in your listener. Negative feelings make people feel bad about themselves, and consequently, they will like you less. Don't constantly complain about your problems, your family problems, more problems of the world. Yeah, why would you? It's unnecessary. Avoid talking incessantly about yourself. What does that mean? What does that? Constantly. Avoid talking constantly about yourself. Do not engage in meaningless chatter. Avoid expressing too little or too much emotion. Testing for rapport is important because it tells us how we stand in developing a relationship with any given individual. The touching of the small of a woman's back indicates intimacy. Touching of the small of a, what is the small? The wall, the small, whatever. Grooming, picking or adjusting the other person's clothing is a sign of good rapport. Grooming, picking, or adjusting the other person's clothing is a sign of good rapport. What do they more mean with rapport or rapport? Affinity. Close relationship. Yes, it does really make sense. I'm just only saying this in couples, quite. But yeah, testing for rapport through the lead and follow approach. People who are psychologically connected mirror one another's body language or gestures. Intentionally mirroring another person's body language promotes rapport or rapport. Change your body position. If you have built a rapport, the other person should change the position within 20 to 30 seconds. A half lip with an accompanying gaze indicates rapport. A half lip followed by broken eye contact is called a bitch flip. People who share a rapport will orient their bodies towards each other. Physical and psychological barriers are used and indicate good rapport has not been built. Watching for subtle changes in people's nonverbal language often communicates more information than anything the person might say. Pillows, purses, and even eyelids from closed eyes can serve as barriers. Increased eye blink rate can indicate anxiety. Yeah, the more of a barrier there is in between you, so you and the other person, the worse it is, I would argue. And I'm actually willing to talk a little bit about the things that I've just read, kind of also to some degree just because I want to have for tomorrow something to talk about, because I think it is a great summary, and I don't know. And today is a strange day to some degree, I want to say. But I do think the whole barrier thing is something that's quite important, even though I do believe that there's also some way how you could be interpreting this in a wrong way or in the wrong way. Meaning like if, for example, something that I think about is like And it is very funny that I've actually memorized that. Well, it's actually, you know, there is a reason for that. So if, in particular girls, and I just really think about some movie-like scene, if they're having something in front of their body, what it is, you know, most often it's going to be books. You know, these schoolgirl scenes and stuff, you know, which is a very common thing, you know, that they're running around with tons and tons of fucking books in their hands. Apparently this is a thing. I don't know if this is actually real. It would actually be very nice. So if you're from the US, where these movies are most often filmed, is this really the case? You know, do you just carry around your books all the time in your hands? You know, just especially the women. Like, I don't know. The thing is, it also acts as a barrier. You know, whatever it might be. You know, he also, and they pointed out purses, yeah, and all the other things that they pointed out. I don't remember, but if there is something in front of you or in front of the other person, and you kind of feel like, well, she's actually, or he is grabbing it and stuff like that, which could also actually be crossed arms, even though it's just not necessarily the case. You know, it could also be just a way of self-soothing, which I don't know, like I actually constantly have to think about that, like the whole aspect of self-soothing versus, okay, this is a way for me to have a barrier and to have more distance in between me and the other person. So it's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, you know, yeah, it is what it is. And yeah, maybe I just want to talk about something else. I kind of feel like talking about it is what it is. Not necessarily amor fati, which is loving your faith and or loving faith and love faith. There is just different translations of that. I think it's actually Latin. But more in the sense of, you know, this and that happened, and he and she and whoever did this and that and these and those. But it is what it is. You know, I don't want to say that it is fine. I don't want to say that it is okay at all, but it is what it is. It happened. You maybe just made a bad decision. You maybe made no decision at all. Maybe whatever. You know, whatever that might be, it is what it is now. And we have to live with it. And complaining most often is just not a good thing. You know, there's no reason at all in complaining, actually, and in just being unhappy about some situations. Like, of course, we all are going to be unhappy about situations, and we're all going to be unhappy about decisions that we made. And I'm also unhappy about some decisions that I made. I'm actually really unhappy, you know, concerning some other things. But we really have to be conscious about the fact that most often we feel bad about a decision in the past or in the future, actually, or we feel bad about a past decision, but just only because we do have a different set of knowledge right now. It's, you know, we knew something different back then, and we were thinking about different things back then, and we are probably thinking about different things right now, and we're probably just knowing more because we are in this situation right now. And of course, you could have thought about that and you could have assumed that, but you would have never known. You know, you would have never known that you're feeling just that bad because of this and that decision. Even though you made the best decision that you could based on what you knew. Quite. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, it is what it is. You know, this is my point. It is what it is. It's probably not like the best tip, I guess, or something, but I don't know. Like, I don't really believe in complaining. I don't really believe in being angry at anybody, indeed. You know, this person did this and this person did that. I'm living my life. I should be happy with my life. What others are doing and what others are saying should not really be messing with me in any way, to really be honest. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. This is my point. And yeah, with that being said, I wish you the best health and happiness and all success, and also hope that you're gonna remind yourself and you're gonna be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person and then being remembered as a nice person, which is a pretty fucking cool thingy thing. 3 other questions that I have you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change, and what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully gonna show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, which is a pretty fucking cool thing. One other question that I have for you is: what could you in particular say to another person that is really gonna change their life and that is really gonna change how they see the world and yeah, what they believe in, and just change their life? There's a lot of things that we could be saying, whether it is a compliment or whether it is something else, whether it is actually feedback. But compliments are pretty often a good idea. I know they often work quite quote unquote well, I would say. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I hope that you're healthy and I hope that you're fine, and I'm hopefully gonna see you the next time. Yeah, bye bye. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.